So as we go through, so the last person does the quote. Before we get started, though, I'd like to introduce.
You can never cross the ocean if you're scared to lose sight of shore. I, Christopher Columbus, discovered the West Indies. I, Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer, have sailed around the world and stated, the sea is dangerous and storms terrible. It's never been a sufficient reason to remain ashore. Exploration is the art of discovering the beauty of the unknown. I, Henry Hudson, discovered the Hudson Bay and the Hudson Strait.
I, Pocahontas, daughter of Chief Powhatan, helped maintain peace between the English colonists and Native Americans, and was, if you walk the vessel from a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew.
I, Margaret Brent, a lawyer, first represented herself in court and formally requested the right to vote.
I must obey God rather than man. I, Anne Hutchinson, was a strong and independent woman who spoke out on my religious beliefs. I helped shape the idea of religious freedom in America.
Liar, I'm no more a witch than you are a wizard. I, Sarah Good, was accused of witchcraft and hanged. I am bold to think my gender does not render me more capable than others. I, Elizabeth Timothy, became the first female to have her own published newspaper.
The muse promised to assist my pen. I, Phyllis Wheatley, was the first African American to publish a book of poetry.
I, Benjamin Franklin, printer, writer, scientist, and diplomat, once said, either write something worth reading or do something worth writing. Guests like fish begin to stink after 3 days.
I, Molly Pitcher, known as Mary Lou, was a Hawaiian of the American Revolution because I carried water to the soldiers without any monument.
The regulars are coming, the regulars are coming. I, Paul Revere, rode from Boston to Lexington to warn John Hancock and Samuel Adams about the British arrival.
I, Samuel Adams, leader of the Sons of Liberty, once said, if you love wealth greater than liberty, depart from us in peace. I, Thomas Gage, a British Army general, once said, no blood has been shed under my command this far, and I am determined none shall be.
I, Betsy Ross, made the flag for George Washington's Continental Army with stars on a field of blue, one for each colony, bars of red for the blood of sacrifice, on a ground of white for love and peace.
I, George Washington, was a founding father, military leader, and the first president of the United States, and stated, the time is near at hand which must determine if Americans are to be free men or slaves.
I, Martha Washington, was the First Lady. I have learned from experience that the greater part of our happiness or misery depends upon our dispositions and not helper of backsliders in colonial America and spy.
The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire, it is now too late to retire from contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat, sir, let it come. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. General may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What will they have? Is life so dear or peace too sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take. As for me, give me liberty or give me death. I am Patrick Henry.
I, Thomas Paine of the Hamlet of Collinston. I once said, the world is my country, all mankind are my brethren.
I, John Hancock, the second President of the Continental Congress and the signer of the Declaration of Independence, said, there John Bull can read my name without glasses, then he may double his reward on my head.
Let me. I can write as well as any man. I, Sybil Ludington, warned that the British were planning to attack Danbury. I was known as the female power of the earth.
I, Lydia Dara, was a spy during the American Revolution and saved many lives, including General George Washington. I believed, though we considered thee as a public enemy, we regard thee as a private friend.
I, Deborah Sampson, disguised as a man in the Revolutionary War, and I once said, I am willing to acknowledge what I have done, an error and presumption. I will call it an error and presumption, because I swerved from the accustomed flowery paths of dream of delicacy.
Give all the power to the many, they will oppress the few. Give all the power to the few, they will oppress the many. For those who stand for nothing fall for everything. So men give me credit for some genius. All the genius I have lies in this. When I have a subject at hand, I study it profoundly. Day and night it is before me. My mind becomes pervaded with it. Then, the effort that I have put in is what people are pleased to call the fruit of genius, for it is the fruit of labor and thought. I, Alexander Hamilton, Secretary of the Treasury, established a national bank.
I, Aaron Burr, was the third Vice President of the United States, once stated, never do today what you can do tomorrow. Something may occur to make you regret your premature action.
I, Abigail Adams, an early advocate for women's rights. Once wrote, remember the ladies and be my generous to them, then he would their ancestors.
I, John Adams, the founding father and the second President of the United States, once said, if conscience disapproves, the loudest applauses of the world are of little value.
I, Jane Austen, was an English novelist known for my acute observation of human nature and subtle critique of societal norms, and stated my idea of the company is the company of clever, well-informed people who have a great deal of conversation. That is what I call good company.
To learn you must listen, to improve you must try. I, Thomas Jefferson, was the third President of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence.
I, Sacagawea, part of Lewis and Clark's Force of Discovery. Do what comes into your life and do it well. Be polite without groveling. If you're afraid of anything, do not deny it, but behave as if you feared nothing.
During the War of 1812, I, Dolly Madison, stated, it is done.
the precious portrait placed upon the hands of the gentleman for safekeeping.
I, James Madison, the fourth President of the United States and the father of the Constitution, believe that if men were angels, no government would be necessary.
Always vote for principle. Though you may vote alone, you may cherish the sweetest reflection that your vote is never lost. I, John Quincy Adams, was the sixth President of the United States.
I, Andrew Jackson, the seventh President of the United States of America and the General of the Army of 1812, believe that one man with courage makes a majority.
You'll wish you're right, then go ahead. I, Davy Crockett, fought and died at the Battle of the Alamo.
I, Narcissus Whitman, was the first woman to cross the continent overland, which paved the way to immigrant families who journeyed down the Oregon Trail.
I, Sarah Hill, was a writer and editor who believed in the power of hope and kindness. It requires but a glimpse of hope in the heart that is skilled in the secret to weave a web of happiness. It is well that war is so terrible, otherwise we shall grow too fond of it. I am Robert Ely. I surrendered to USS Grant. The Civil War ended.
I, Harriet Tubman, helped many people escape to freedom through the Underground Railroad. I once said, there are two things I've got a right to. These are death or liberty. One or the other I mean to have. No one shall take me back alive. I shall fight for my liberty, and when the time has come for me to go, the Lord will let them kill me.
I, John Sutter, discovered gold at my mill in Coloma. I died for it.
I, Emily Dickinson, was a poet who wrote about deep feelings and ideas. One of my poems is, hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all.
I, Brigham Young, was a young Mormon leader and founder at Salt Lake City and stated true independence and freedom can only exist in doing what's right.
407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this, but in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggle here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little know, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather to be here dedicated to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these our dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they were the last to give a full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. I am Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President. The art of war is simple enough. Find out where your enemy is, get him as soon as you can, strike him as hard as you can. I am Ulysses S. Grant, the 18th President.
I, Dorothea Dix, was once a woman, was once a nurse in the Civil War. I once said, in a world where there is so much to be done, I'm strongly impressed there is something for me to do.
George Armstrong Custer. I once said, if I were an Indian, I would greatly prefer to cast my lot among those of my people who adhere to the free open plains rather than submit to the confined limits of a reservation.
I, Susan B. Anthony, was a women's rights activist and co-founded the National Women's Suffrage Association and stated, I declare to you that women must not depend upon protection of man, but must be taught to protect herself. And there I take my stand.
I, Emmeline Robert Jones, was the first woman to practice dentistry. I received numerous awards and was an honorary member of the National Dental Association.
I, Sarah Barton, founder of the Red Cross, once said, I may be compelled to face danger, but never fear it. And while our soldiers can stand and fight, I can stand and feed and rest them.
In receipt of poem honoring our fallen heroes. It is called the Memorial Day Poem by C.W. Duncan.
We walked among the crosses where our fallen soldiers lay and listened to the bugle as taps began to play.
The chaplain led a prayer, we stood with heads bowed low, and I thought of fallen comrades I had known so long ago.
They came from every city across this fertile land, that we might live in freedom, they lie here beneath the sand.
I felt a little guilty, my sacrifice was small. I only lost a little time, but these men lost their all.
Now the services are over for this Memorial Day. To the names upon these crosses, I just want to say,
thanks for what you've given. No one could ask for more. May you rest with God in heaven from now through evermore.
Honor the men and women who serve for our country. If you weren't in the military, please stand and remain standing. Serving, would you please stand?
Say, and we breathe.
Tomorrow all the games were gone,
right. Before they leave first, we have a little. So we're ready to go, guys. You did a fabulous job. Very proud. Very, very proud. All right. We're ready. All right.